Beware the hidden tax on your Social Security benefits. Now, this is a good situation. It is. So let me give an example. I'm working with a guy in Tejas, and he's crushing. And he sold, he had like a machine shop or something like that. I can't remember. He sold his business for a couple $1 million. All right, this is back 2020, something like that. Just parks it in cash. And basically, he was getting on $1 million, 1% interest, if even that. He was getting $20,000 a year. So he was able to qualify for Obamacare. He wasn't paying any income tax. He's a multimillionaire. It was great. Now those days are over in terms of money market accounts and whatnot, because now money market accounts are paying 5%. Now the bank still isn't paying much. I'll grant you that. So if you want to make 5%, you just put it in the money market away from the bank. I had a lady email me the other day. She goes, she got out of the markets about a year ago, and her financial advisor never discussed putting her into money market accounts. So she's been sitting idle in cash, even though the last year the money markets are paying 5%, and she's not getting hardly any interest. And that's, I hate to say it, that's not right, man. It's the wrong answer. But it's kind of on her too. I mean, at some point you got to say, hey, but she did. She emailed me. I said, why aren't you in a money market account? She goes, I didn't even know. I said, yeah, frustrates me. Frustrates me that she went to cash and literally sat in cash. Not frustrated by her, frustrated by there wasn't some kind of scenario where they say, hey, man, you're not getting enough money on your cash. We should put you in a money market. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's her money. I grant you, it still kind of frustrates me. But anyway, long story short. So with that increase in interest means a increase in Social Security taxation. All right. So remember, so we got two people here. We got Single Susie and we got Josh and Charlotte. All right. Single Susie, how we figure out her taxation on her Social Security benefits. All right, so we got two different scenarios. We're going to go into this. Look at this. I'm like the, what was that freaking Matt Damon movie, whatever that was called, with that, what's that chick's name? In the Matt Damon movie in Boston. What the hell was that called? I can't remember. You like them apples? How about them apples? Or something like that. Whatever that movie. I was in Harvard. Yeah, I'm like that guy. I'm like Matt Damon. The hell's that movie called? My goodness. It was a good movie. I can't remember. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at Single Susie, and then we're going to look at Josh and Charlotte. And we're going to say Single Susie has $40,000 of Social Security benefits. She also has $10,000 of interest income. Could be interest income, could be taxable income, dividend income, could be any sort of income, even municipal bond income, could be anything. What we're trying to do first and foremost is figure out how much of our Social Security is subject to taxation. All right, that's what we're trying to do. So income, municipal bond income, dividend income, qualified long-term capital gain income, interest income, W-2 income, it all flows to calculate your taxable Social Security. That's what we're doing here first. So she has $40,000 of Social Security, $10,000 of interest income, $25,000 of interest income, and $50,000 of interest income. And what we do is we take half our Social Security and we add our other income, because this will give us our provisional income. How much of our Social Security is subject to taxation? So a lot of people, ignoramuses, will say, oh, 85% of your Social Security is subject to taxation. They'll just do that by default. It's so freaking lazy. It's ignorant, or it's just stupid. One of those three things, man. That's just not true. It could be true, but it's not necessarily true, and I'll prove it to you here. All right, so she has $10,000 of taxable income, I should say, plus half her Social Security. Her provisional income is $30,000. Her first $25,000 of that provisional income is not subject to any taxation. All right. Now the next $25,000 to $34,000, the next $9,000 of her provisional income, half of that is subject to taxation. Now in this case, she only has $30,000 of provisional income. The first $25,000 is free, so she only has $5,000 left of provisional income that's even subject to any kind of taxation. And that's just $2,500, because 50% of this amount that's in here is subject to taxation. So again, she has $30,000 of provisional income. The first $25,000 is tax-free. The next $9,000, up to $9,000, is taxed at 50% of that is subject to taxation. Well, in this case, she only has $5,000. 50% of that is subject to taxation. So her taxable Social Security for Single Susie is only $2,500. $2,500 of her $40,000 of Social Security subject to taxation. Now we bring back her taxable interest down to figure out what our AGI is. And we say our AGI, in this case, is $12,500. Her $2,500 of taxable Social Security plus her $10,000 of interest income. Now, if this were long-term capital gains, qualified dividend income, or municipal bond income, that would not show up there. Most likely. It depends on a lot of different things for long-term capital gains and qualified dividend income. It wouldn't show up here, but certainly would show up here for taxable Social Security. So in this case, her AGI is only $12,500. Well, her standard deduction is more than that, so she has no taxable income at all. None. Now let's increase her interest to $25,000, then again to $50,000. Now her AGI, she increased her interest income from $10,000 to $15,000. That's a good thing. That's a $15,000 increase in money. That's great. But what does that do? It gave her an increase of $22,000 of AGI. Look at that. She went from $12,500 AGI to $37,800. That's a $25,000 increase in AGI, right? Yeah, $25,000 roughly. Even though she only made $15,000 more in income. What's that about? That's a double taxation of Social Security, the tax torpedo I've been talking about for many, many moons. Me, was the first guy to talk about this stuff. I'm telling you right now. There's a guy named Reichenstein, Bill Reichenstein and Bill Meyer, who I like quite a bit, actually. Reichenstein's a Baylor. I can't remember what Bill Meyer is. I had never even known about this until an insurance guy gave an article to one of my clients when I was at USAA in Center City, Philadelphia. And this guy gave me this freaking article. He goes, I'd really like for you to read this. I said, as an insurance guy, I'm not reading it. This is in 2011. I was sitting on the 47th floor of Center City of First One Liberty, I think is what the building was called. We had the Penn, building, the Comcast building right there with the William Penn guy right next to us. Anyway, that was a highfalutin big roller, man, in Center City. So stupid. We had an office there. So dumb. Anyway, so a couple weeks I didn't read it, and the guy said, dude, just read it for me. I said, all right. I read it. I said, holy crap. I never knew this. I never knew this is how this happened. I just assumed 85% of your Social Security was subject to taxation. Now, I remember I emailed that guy, Bill Reichenstein, William Reichenstein, because he had written a lot of stuff on Social Security and taxes in the Journal for Financial Planning. I said, have you ever heard this in terms of double taxation, the provisional income, how it gets the what is now known as a tax torpedo? No, I don't have that email because I emailed it from my work email, but he said no. I said, man, this is nuts. I looked long and hard to see if any other CPA, any other guy was talking about this stuff. And there's only one guy for like 2008 or 9. And just some random CPA guy. And he was the only guy talking about it, man. But the insurance guys knew. It was crazy. I'll never forget that. I was like, this is nuts. How did these guys know? Anyway, no one was talking about it. Now everyone talks about it. But is me, your old buddy Josh, who brought this to the attention of the general population. Actually, I think there's something to be said about that. No one's talking about this on YouTube until I came around. So now people are talking about it like it's always known. Nope. No one's talking about the deficiencies of the 4% rule until your old buddy Josh came around. Now everyone's talking about it like it's always been known. Nope. Now I am standing on the shoulders of other guys who did this. Susan Rowetter and Michael Hurd, Ty Bernicki, and there's a couple other professors from 1999. I forgot their names off the top of my head, but I'm staying on the shoulders of those who came before. All right, so now we have an increase of $40,000 of income, and yet our AGI goes from $12,500 to $84,000. $40,000 increase in income, and an increase in our AGI was at $72,000. That's AGI. So we take $13,000 of standard deduction. Our taxable income has gone from 0 to $71,000 on a $40,000 increase in income. So we made $40,000 more of income, but guess what? We have $70,000 more of taxable income because of double taxation of Social Security. That's just for single Susie. Now we're going to Josh and Charlotte. You can kind of see that. And same thing here. We're going to use $80,000 for social, but we're going to still use these same income categories. $10,000, $25,000, $50,000. All right, so we take 40,000, half our social plus our interest income. Our provisional income is $50,000. Remember, oh, by the way, I need to point something else here too. Right here, remember the max you can pay of taxable income on Social Security is 85%. So the max of your Social Security subject to taxation is 85%. In this case, it was actually $34,050. All right, so we have a ceiling, and we reduce it down to $34,000 because that's the max. So the max she can pay on $40,000 of Social Security, the maximum taxable income she has, is $34,000. When we did this calculation, this right here came down to $34,050. That'd be over the 85% threshold, so the max, the ceiling is $34,000. I just wanted to point that out because a lot of people do these calculations. They'll say, I'm getting 97% of my Social Security subject to taxation. Well, that's not true. The max is 85%. All right, just keep that in mind. So we have a ceiling, the max, 85%. All right, now the low, the floor, is zero. So in this case, Josh and Charlotte, we have 80,000 social. The first 40, we take half our Social Security so we can figure out what our provisional income is, plus our $10,000 of interest. Oh man, that's my, ouch, that hurt. I remember I messed up my finger right there. Yeah, it's still kind of messed up. Ouch. I dropped a weight on that thing right there. Y'all remember that? And I showed you how I did it with a pin and it bled all over the place. That was pretty cool. I mean, look, you get Social Security stuff, how to clean out your thumb, your nail when it's just full with blood and it hurts or you can't sleep. You take a pin, you sanitize it, and just blood goes all over the place. I tell you, it's like relief. Like, oh, that felt so good. What else do you learn? I mean, what else? What other kind of channel could you ask for except for what I'm giving you? I'm giving you freaking humor, great stuff here. Talk about how to maintain your thumbnail or your fingernail there. Dude, this is where it's at. All right, so anyway, we got $40,000 because we take half our Social Security plus our interest income. First $32,000 here for married people is not subject to taxation. So the first $34,000 for single, first $32,000 for married. All right. The next $12,000, 50% of that is subject to taxation. And anything above $44,000, 85% of that is subject to taxation. All right, I've done a million videos on how to do this, so that's why I'm kind of flying through this, but I just want to show you. So we have right here, we have all our Social Security, taxable Social Security is $11,100 here. We have $80,000 of Social Security plus $10,000 of interest income. $11,100 is our taxable Social Security on $80,000. That means that's a 12.5%. 87.5% of our total Social Security is tax flipping free. All right. Now we have a $10,000 interest income. We have a AGI of $21,000. Well, between Charlotte and me, we'll have standard deductions of roughly $30,000. So we have zero taxable income. Zero taxable income, just like single Susie, zero taxable income. Let's fast forward here. Now we got $50,000 of interest income. Look at that. We go from 21,000 AGI to 95,000 AGI. So we've increased our interest income by $40,000. We've increased our AGI by, I don't even know what that is, $74,000. Tell me that's not crazy. Increased our AGI here, our interest by $15,000, increased our AGI by doubling it. We went from 21,000 to 48,000. So that's a 27,000 increase in AGI, even though we only increased our income by $15,000. That's the hidden tax. Thanks, Obama. It was actually Reagan with Democrats in the House, Republicans in the Senate who started that. Clinton with Democrats in the House and Senate in 1993. No one has done a damn thing to adjust Social Security at all. None. But with that said, it's not hard not to pay taxes on Social Security. The issue is if you have non-Roth accounts, and even IRA distributions, that will make your Social Security more subject to taxation. The more income you have, the more your Social Security is subject to taxation. By the way, again, if this is tax-free income, it's still subject to taxation of Social Security. It won't be subject to income tax, but still subject to taxation of Social Security. If it's long-term capital gain or qualified dividends, it'll still be subject to Social Security taxation, but it won't be subject to AGI Because if you're in the 12% tax bracket, guess what? No taxes on there. That's what I'm telling you, man. I tell you, I'm not a fan of municipal bonds at all. I'm much bigger fan of qualified dividends and long-term capital gains. That's why index funds are just where it's at, because index funds, they don't even have much in terms of long-term capital gains, and the qualified dividends are minimal at best. So we have to have some kind of income. If we have to, we want it to be long-term capital gain and qualified dividends, 100%. Now, if it's interest income, it's fine, as long as we don't start getting a lot more interest income than we anticipate, because you could lose your ACA subsidies, you could lose your taxation on Social Security. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem nonetheless that you might not be prepared for. All right. Love your thoughts on this as always. If these videos help you and you want to support your old buddy Josh, buy me a cup of coffee down there, dudes. And if you want to follow, join me on Locals, we go live on Locals every Wednesday. So if you $5 a month, you get on Locals. You can chat with the cool kids. We usually get about 20 to 30 people a week on Locals every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're live on Locals, so you can sign up for that down below too. All right, God bless. We'll see you.